Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sitdown down in Jersey, kicking it on what is a hot, muggy, humid, and overcast day. I don't think it's gonna rain. Maybe but it's just like, like when the clouds cover, or the cloud cover is like so full the sky just looks white. Yeah, that's what it's like down here. So I don't actually feel bad today about chilling and getting ready to watch some TV because it's gross outside. Yes, it is Wednesday morning. Between what I had going on yesterday, getting all the stuff I was getting done, and then getting down to Jersey. By the time I got here, watched the Met game with my mom, I passed out on the couch at like 9:30. So the chances of seeing this were slim to none. So here we are, Wednesday morning, getting ready to dive into our penultimate episode, and this is a show full of ups and downs, and I'm fascinated to see where we land on this one, considering it is the linchpin, I think, to the show, right? What the mystery of this show has been, what actually happened on Brendock. I think we're about to find out. What are we talking about? When you pull up a chair, take a seat. We are getting ready to take a watch and dive in, spoiler-filled, into The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 7, Choice. And as I said last week, I think on the overall, I've enjoyed this show more than I haven't. I really liked the first two episodes. I thought, besides some of the acting elements at times, or maybe directing elements at times around the kids, I thought the third episode at that point in time was the strongest of the three. Then we got episode 4, which was just downright bad and put me in a different perspective on this show, where all of a sudden the things that aren't working were starting to pop in much brighter ways for me. 5 brought probably the best episode of the show, with some of the best lightsaber work we've ever seen in the Disney era of Star Wars, but still had some of those just head-scratching moments, right? And you get to episode 6, Teach Corrupt, another episode that I liked more than I didn't, because I thought the Sith stuff was really working, but the Sol and May and the Vernestra stuff, a lot of it was in that, scratching my head, not really sure how we're missing some of the things that we're missing. So here we go, man. Episode 7. It's the episode we've all been waiting for, where we find out what caused that explosion, what actually happened on Brendock that led Master Torbin to meditate for 10 years and then kill himself, and Master Kelnacca to just kind of exile himself from everybody. That's the question. That's been the question of the show the entire time. The mystery of the show is what's going to happen in this episode, and all I know is if I don't get some badass Wookie Jedi action, I'm just going to be against the show, I think. You tease me a live-action Jedi Wookie, and we have been shortchanged on that end more than anything else. I want to see some badass Jedi Wookie stuff, man, and I ain't got it yet. But that said, look, I said this last week. While the show, I think, has lots of ups and downs, I think it's working for some people. It's not working for others. There are people who I think, like myself, like it, but we understand there are issues kind of more in the middle. But considering where we ended coming off the last 2 episodes, whoever the secret Sith is, right, the Master, I'm 100% positive that Chimera is an apprentice, because if he was a Master, why would he be looking for an Acolyte? So we still have that reveal. Who is the Master Sith? And depending on where they want to go, you can go down to some really dark places with this show, and I think it could end strong. Now, it's not going to be this episode because we're going back in time, but when we get to the finale, if it's like Osha and Chimera versus May and Sol, and they strike down May and Sol, the show could be kind of dark. And if Vernestra is the secret Sith Master, I know that would piss off some book readers. I haven't gotten to those books yet, so I'm not really too familiar in the High Republic era and at all with Vernestra. I know she's a cool badass, but like, you know, from a where I'm sitting perspective, even if she is a cool badass like in the books, her being a Sith could be a badass turn and could land this thing in a place that's pretty dark and would explain why people like Ki-Adi-Mundi didn't know that the Sith were around just a mere 100 years ago rather than, you know, being extinct for a millennia. So there is hope. But before we can find out if there's any hope in the finale, even if it's, look, if it's Mother Coral, I've said it from jump, I'm going to be kind of upset because it's just like so obvious and definitely just not built well enough to kind of, for me to be excited. But if, you know, even if you go down that route, you could still end up in this kind of darker place. Maybe less so within the Jedi, but at least like in taking out all of the Jedi that would know that a Sith existed. Like, you could still land there. But first we got to go back in time, and we got to see what actually happened down Brendock and to this Coven of Witches. And was it something like Master Torbin pulled the trigger because he's, you know, a Padawan, you know, oops, made a mistake. Leads to something that leads to an explosion that leads to the death of all these witches? Or is it something darker? Like, could this be a scenario where, I don't know, the Jedi were sent to wipe out this Coven of Witches? Like, that doesn't seem to be the type of thing I would expect a bunch of Jedi to be doing, but I don't know. You know, maybe, like, the execution of that, I think, could be what determines whether this show is good or bad. But I'm gonna shut up, man. Why theorize and try to think about, like, oh man, what could we end up doing when we could just simply get the show up for you? I've got it up for me in all the appropriate places. I think we're gonna be able to sync this pretty well. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dive in to The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 7, Choice.
One born as two.
Ascension is about walking through fear. It is about sacrifice.
I've never gotten the sync on the audio right out. I didn't have to touch anything. I'm so proud of myself.
What happens when the Jedi discover?
Oh, Mother Coral.
We won't let it happen.
I agree. I don't. Right? Like, what made all, like, that little fire of a book didn't, you know what I mean? Oh, that's right, we got short-haired Sol. Yeah, everybody dead. Except Mother Coral.
He invaded our home.
Have you told me everything?
But then if Mother Coral saved May, say, right? Like, she would know May would probably go to the tree to see if Osha was there. What would... Like, how could May not be the apprentice at that point, right? Like, and what's the chimera of it all? Like, why would Sol be sensing something familiar? Like, yes, he saw him in the town, but like, if Chimera is back here, that could be interesting to play with. I don't know, man. The show has not instilled the most confidence, but I've liked the last 2 episodes a lot more than I disliked them, so let's find out. Brendock. 16 years earlier. Alright, so we're gonna follow the Jedi the whole time. Here for that. So it seems like they're on like a let's explore this planet mission, right? Collecting samples.
And I want to go home to Coruscant.
I know.
Yes, they're like
We've been here for 7 weeks.
7 weeks collecting specimens and
We probably would have found it by now.
interesting.
Babylon is lifeless because of a hyperspace disaster. Yet this planet, Brendock, is thriving.
So there's some plants here. Big deal.
Calm yourself, Padawan. Do not center around your anxieties.
At least we got more than 5 lines for Carrie-Anne Moss.
Somehow important or meaningful.
We are looking for a versions.
What's the versions?
A concentration of force energy centered around a location.
Virgins could create life, like what we see on this planet. Nothing could be more important to the Jedi.
Interesting. So this Coven of Witches was created by this... He didn't say vortex, but something like that. It's interesting.
My Padawan is too distracted to appreciate the significance of a virgin's.
A virgin's, there it is.
It's disturbed. Unbalanced.
You were disturbed. Do not confuse Torbin's feelings with your own. I do not tell him answers to ease his mind. I teach him to seek the answers for himself. You disagree. That's why I have a Padawan and you do not.
Really did waste some wonderful talent in this show. Speeders in the woods. That looks terrible, though. That looked so VFX-y. Like, where's the money going? As always, Sol be sensing things, except, you know, May being OSHA. Oh, this is... They made it seem like he'd been following these kids for weeks, unless this is, I guess, weeks before the Ascension ceremony, but...
Let it go, May. Stop. Why do you always have to do things like that? Why do you always run after love?
Yeah, I gotta peek up the interest, didn't it? Dude, Coral's so creepy. I guess maybe she didn't go all the way to the yellow tree. But nevertheless, if she's alive, she'd obviously find May.
We are not alone. Indara, can you read me?
Well, here we go. Time to find out what's really going on Brendock. I feel like we don't need to follow Sol this far back. Like, we could have just jumped to the day, you know? Like, hey, we got it. You've been surveying them. Why'd they get the tech to build all this stuff, right? Like, if they were created by a virgins, how'd all this stuff get here? Or was this stuff already here? Oh, Sol's a climber. It's a good thing all them stones are on a nice slant. Makes it easy to... Oh, that looks less easy. There for everything. Now, but also again, here are Force-sensitive beings that have been, nobody can sense that somebody's now, you know, like... And, like, you wouldn't, like, why wouldn't you have people guarding the entrances? I get, like, what is going on here?
A force cult here.
I think they are witches.
Night Sisters.
We do not have all the information.
Night Sisters are the witches. They're the witches, you know what I mean?
We should return to the ship, ask the council for guidance.
I fear for the girls' safety. The witches prepare for a ceremony tonight. What if the girls are in danger?
I swear that the first episode at Brendock made it seem like Sol had been following them for weeks. I have to go back now.
Come with me. See what I have seen.
Sol, though, never wants to be going to the council. Like, let's act. Which I can appreciate. But, like, this... Like, you're so protective where you got yourself sealed in this place. You don't have anybody watching these things.
Slice the controls. I'm going in alone.
Master, we must escort you.
It's too risky to go in as a group. They'll take it as a threat.
There are over 50 of them.
50 women. And only 2 children.
We should go as a team.
And the way they came in, didn't it seem like they came in through, like, a town? Like, they were like, oh, Jedi are here. And then, like, the mothers all got themselves ready. I feel like I'm missing something. I just think it's silly to seal yourself in a place like this without having guards. And then you hear a noise, and you get suspicious, like you wouldn't have people post up. And so they let him break in. Like they definitely made it seem like they walked in willingly.
Master Indara, these are my colleagues, Sol.
You just sneak into a place all.
And my Padawan Torbin.
I am Aniseya.
It's very strange.
These women are under my protection.
You're trespassing.
Forgive our intrusion. We thought this planet was uninhabited.
The all-knowing Jedi were ignorant of their surroundings. I find that hard to believe.
Are we gonna get to see what Torbin experienced?
Son of paupers from the planet Bonadon. You've traveled so far only to become trapped on this planet. You are a strong, good Jedi. You are a strong and good Jedi. Do you have natural desires you suppress? Do you wish to escape this planet? Do you wish to escape?
This is the first time I've really felt dark side vibes for maybe Aniseya.
I can help. Do you wish to escape this planet? I can help you. You wish to return to Coruscant?
She's been in his head a lot longer than you realized.
I would not keep you from what you want. I would always let you have what you need.
I apologize for my mother, despite telling her.
Ask me. Go on. Go on. Go on. Ask me. Ask.
She's really getting in his head. I kind of like this.
I want to return to Coruscant.
Kneel.
Now this is where we were in the... Yeah, okay. So she, like, allured him first and then dropped him. That made that whole thing way darker, which I dig.
You cannot deny that Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans. With your permission, of course.
The scouts will bring Osha to your camp at midday.
Yeah, I see the fallout of having somebody in your brain. Mind. Head.
That was clever. Suggesting we test the girls. Buys me time to ask the council for guidance.
I feel a connection to Osha.
Testing the twins is not something we can take seriously.
I feel she's meant to be my Padawan.
The Coven will never let her leave. They are so insular. So strange.
They mocked her sister with dark magic.
Ceremonial markings are customary in many cultures in the galaxy.
But Osha did not have one.
Sol just always be worrying about these girls. Osha in particular. It's a very honorable, noble guy.
He wants to live with us.
Do not confuse what Osha wants with what you want.
That's what I was about to say. Now that makes me wonder, did Sol give her like a force nudge? But I mean, I don't think so. Like she seemed, I guess they would have taught about the Jedi, but like, I don't know. It's odd that she would want to be a Jedi so strongly after only encountering them briefly.
This won't take long, mate.
Well, yeah, we didn't get to see exactly what happened with May.
What is that?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I just need to take a sample of your blood.
I wish shots or blood drawings were that fast in real life. Like, that's done like that. Needle, I hate needles.
Tell us what you see.
A spaceship. A castle. A planet. A necklace.
The image hasn't appeared.
Can I go back to my family now?
Last night before we entered your home, what was everyone...
I was about to say, she wasn't faking it any better than Osha was.
Is your marking a part of Ascension? Do you like it? It's very beautiful. Ascension must be very important to include a marking like that.
Mama says Ascension means Osha and I will lead the Coven. That's why I have a marking like Mama.
But your children, how can you become the leader?
I
Don't know.
Don't know. Mama said everyone must walk through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny.
Interesting wording.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Can I go now?
May was instructed to fail.
Yeah.
I would like to try a different approach with the other child.
You may.
Which we know worked.
But you must have the courage to say
And Dara seems rather uncomfortable.
I want to be a Jedi.
then you must have the courage to tell the truth.
We should continue the test.
A planet.
Correct.
Tap in, Indara. What do you sense?
What now, Master?
You should run the girls' blood samples.
Was your past.
Yeah.
I will meet you at the camp when I hear their answer.
It's like, what more do you need? What's gonna go down out here?
Something is wrong.
They will not sanction bringing the twins to Coruscant or separating them from their coven.
But there's something dangerous about those women. You saw what they were capable of.
Facts.
They say that we have interfered too much already.
Will they let us come home at least?
Poor Torbin. All he wants to do is go home.
But it was your past.
After you coached her, do not alter this little girl's destiny because you have formed an emotional attachment to her.
That is not what's happening.
Seem a little emotional, Sol.
I want to do what's best for Ocean.
How do you know?
You don't
Yeah.
get to decide that.
It's the twins' blood test results. The M count is very high.
The M count. I love that they never say it.
Very force sensitive. Their symbionts are the same.
They are twins.
No, exactly.
See, they are as one.
Identical twins would have different symbionts. This is impossible without some kind of manipulation.
So it's like,
Twins were artificially created.
Maybe by tapping into a power dense enough to split one
the
quantum.
two bodies, yeah.
Only a virgin could create that type of power.
Virgins.
This is it.
Torbin! Stop!
Don't you see? We just need proof of a virgins, and those girls are the
And
proof.
then we can go home. Oh no, Torbin.
Wrong with you?
Go and take a walk, May. Take a walk with Mother.
I want to know what happened here.
What's wrong with you? Mama! Mama!
And Torbin just off his rocker to just get home. I wonder if his determination is any kind of remnants or residual effect from Mother Aniseya getting in his head, telling him to go after that type of stuff.
Be a Jedi, Mama.
I don't need this convo. I want to see Coral and May. Like, yes, this is what I want. I want to see this conversation.
Want to stop Osha from leaving? Then stop her.
Then stop her.
Jedi
The
will not
push.
warn you before they attack. Good girl. Get mad.
Fascinating. That's all it took?
It's not her decision to make.
But is it ours?
You cannot allow Osha to go.
She has chosen it.
Clearly Coral pushing that dark side vibe.
Child,
My children are our future.
you may be their mother, but you are also our leader.
Fascinating.
And now I choose mother.
Yo.
Can get in or out?
Witches, arm yourselves!
I think they've locked the girls inside.
Interesting move from Coral to push to that.
You can't go. We're stuck here now.
Follow me.
Ah, yes. Climb up all of the wall.
I need you to help me get the girls.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Again, though, kind of crazy to me that, like, she went that crazy just from like a slight nudge to lean into her anger. Again, like the way she looks at the fire. But I guess maybe it's just like her making the decision she's making.
If I can get close enough, do you think you can make the jump? Go.
Jumping Jedi Wookie. Here comes our Jedi Wookie action. You gotta jump out the ship. All badass.
Get everyone in the common room. Prepare for
So
battle.
Mother Cora was prepping for like battle.
I told you we cannot use violence.
And I told you,
You were wrong.
I would die before I let the Jedi take my children.
She like, I don't know how these women got here. That's crazy to me. Like, what?
What are you doing?
But like, she's very clearly, obviously a Sith. To me, at least. Like, that's the vibes I'm getting. What is this? Like, I still don't buy this little fire doing all of the damage that it does. Like, what, like, how did that oil get there? Like, say, like, it keeps getting more and more, like, where is this liquid spreading from? It was very weird. Like, if it was already on fire, like, it was right at the end of it, and then it came as a bigger, I don't know. I still don't believe that that little fire causes everything that happens here. But like, yeah, the way Mother Cora was like, I would never let my kids fall into the hands of the Jedi. Seems personal.
The twins, where did they come from? How were they created?
Oh, damn.
Someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy.
Easy to forget.
Easy to say when we know that's what happens.
Osha!
That's not Osha.
Help me.
How did he mix that up? Oh. Whoa! What? What is happening? I also, considering that they look different, I don't get how Sol doesn't know that that's May.
Let Osha go. It's what she wants. It's what she wants. She chose you.
That whole... nothing that just happened made any sense to me.
Mama!
I don't get how Sol gets that wrong. What the hell was what Aniseya was doing? So they're not... I almost feel like they're not real children. Torbin? Damn, son! It's unfortunate we didn't get more time with Torbin. He can wield a saber. Now, this is weird, right? Like, she's armed, wants to fight, Sol's not gonna do it. He struck down an unarmed woman. Like, is that why he's feeling the guilt already? Even though a lot of this is not jiving right now, I continue to think that Li Zhongje is doing phenomenal work with what he's been given. I still can't believe that that little fire led to all of this stuff, though. Like, this doesn't...
The twins! They're locked inside!
What is this maneuver that we're doing here? Can they all become one?
You should not have brought him here.
No. My mind is fortified.
Not you.
Oh, she took over Kelnacca. Well, here comes my badass Jedi Wookie stuff. What is happening? Genuinely thought he would be a little faster. Like, the speed Torbin was moving, he's just physically so big. Oh. I wish this wasn't against his, brother Jedi, but this is how that scar ends up on his face, probably. He's so big. I guess, did he get hit with claws? I didn't see how that scar got there. He's big. That's a dope looking shot. How did he do that? That was weird. And the action has been... Oh my! Oh, there she is. Carrie-Anne Moss doing badass Jedi things. Been in a sing-songy mode lately. I don't know why. Wait, what? I don't...
Get them now. Now!
I don't... What? I don't understand. What just... Did she do it on purpose? In trying to purge them from his mind? It killed all of them? I still can't believe that this fire caused all of this damage.
Where's Mama? Mama's dead.
I also feel like we're not really gonna get answers about how, or like, these kids were created or how any of this stuff worked. Like, oh, Sol, he had to choose. Feel like he should have been strong enough to pick them up and pull them over if he could hold those things as long as he did.
I got you.
That's the end? Oh no, I was like, what? I also don't understand how what happened led Kelnacca to...
Kelnacca, send a message to Coruscant. We're going home.
Like...
I warned both of you.
I wanted the twins to be safe.
Thought of the consequences.
I had to make a choice.
Master! Master! What will we tell the council?
We will tell the council the truth. May burned down the witch's fortress, and everyone was lost.
It's not even that big of a lie.
After everything this little girl has lost tonight, you take away her dream as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Before you throw yourself at the mercy of the council, ask yourself why you made this choice.
She said, "Mama, Mama," but... What?
Where am I?
We're on our way to Coruscant.
What happened?
I don't know, man.
They started a fire.
I still can't believe that's where we end. You know what I'm finding, and this is partially the fault of Leslie Headland, right? Like as the showrunner and as the person who, is tying her name to this show directly. The episodes that she doesn't write. Also, what is this needle drop nonsense? Typically, these episodes end and you're still in the score, which the score work all season is one thing I don't think you can fault. I think the scoring has been very good all season long. I don't know what this needle drop is about. This feels very not Star Wars. Sorry, just I wasn't ready. Like I usually like listening to the credits roll because I like listening to the score. That's not gonna be the case today. I'm not trying to hear that needle drop nonsense. But I do feel like when I run into episodes where I really have issue with the writing, Leslie Headland is not writing. Like, she's not directly writing the scripts. And as the showrunner, you should be the one approving these things. And if there are things that are not working, or things that don't make sense, you should be making sure that your vision is being justified. And I think the same goes on the directing side. Like, what the hell was that shit with the fire? Like, all of a sudden there was just oil on the ground. So was that from the lamp? Okay, so that's from the lamp. She drops the lamp. Okay, some oil gets out. Once the fire consumes the oil doesn't keep spreading so that the fire can keep spreading. You know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe it, but then it wouldn't have done it the way that they did it in the show. And even then, in a fortress of rock and steel, I don't get how all the explosion-y things start happening. How that little fire from a booklet sets gets into the wires. Like, I don't know. But like that's where it's like, if you're the showrunner, you should be stepping in on some of these logic things that you're just like, wait, what? No, fix this. You know what I mean? So like, while I do think studio interference has been had at different points in this show, and I do think that maybe Headland's original concept was more what we were pitched. There are also things you just can't let happen when you're and then like, I just felt like a lot of this episode I was scratching my head, and now that I see what it is the Jedi did, I'm not entirely sure why Kelnacca went into exile mode for 16 years. Not really sure why Torbin went into meditation mode for 16 years. Like, Torbin didn't really do anything at all. He was mad. He wanted to go home. He went with Sol. He got his ass beat by a bewitched Kelnacca. What guilt does that kid carry in coming out of this? You know, I was the one that started it by going in. Sol got you inside. Like, I feel like the two of these 4 Jedi that should have, like, exiled themselves and then maybe committed suicide would be Sol and Indara. Like, how did Indara just purging Kelnacca's mind wiped out the whole cut? Like, what the hell was that? Like, I saw dark things, Jedi making mistakes that lead to terrible things, like things that would produce the amount of guilt that Kelnacca and Torbin had. This episode doesn't justify any of that to me. And the real asshole of the entire situation is Sol. Like, up until this episode, right? Like, let's take action. Like, let's do, Qui-Gon vibes. This dude wasn't even stopping and making logical decisions. Wasn't thinking. Like, just how he acted for someone who's a master in the Jedi. Like, yeah, I thought the way he acted when it's like, Vernester, what do you mean? We know that they're going to kill the next Jedi. We know where they're heading. I gotta go stop it. That made sense. his obsessive nature to want to save this kid. In less than 24 hours. Like I said, I swear to God, episode 3 made it seem like they were there watching this stuff for at least multiple days, if not weeks. Like, yeah, they were on the planet for 7 weeks. So, like, I just feel like a lot of the things that are revealed to us on the other side of that story don't jive with the first half of the story that you set up. And then all of that, like, aside, how does Sol not know the difference between Ocean and May? At that point, they look different. I get that they're identical twins in grown-up time because Amanda Stenberg is playing both. But at minimum, when May comes running out, how do you yell OSHA? And that's one of those casting real twins who aren't identical hurts the show, in my opinion. Because you sit there and you go, that's May, Sol. Like, I'm a viewer, I can tell that's May because it's two different actors. So, like, it's just, like, this is an episode that I think is amplifying the mistakes that have been made in the previous 6 episodes a lot. The other thing, too, Sol just, like, killing Mother Aniseya. Like, what? Like, again, like, just things that don't feel like they jive with what's, like, who Sol is. And if there was somebody that was going to exile themselves or put them into a meditative state for 16 years, pulling that move certainly makes it seem like Sol would be that guy. Like, it just, his motivations and the way he functions in this episode just doesn't make any sense to me. And, like, considering what you could have built or what you could have had happen that would lead these 4 Jedi to feel as guilty as they feel. This is not, I don't see it. And again, like, of all of the ones that should feel anything, Sol for killing Aniseya, and I guess Indara killed all of the witch, like, and that's where these short episodes, like, really get to you. Because you introduce some cool looking, like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like when Aniseya started to do that stuff, it didn't look dope. Like, visually, very striking, and, like, hardcore witchy stuff. But, like, we have no reference, at least I don't have any reference that I can think of off the top of my head, of what this is that she's doing. And you're now creating questions that I don't know if we can ever get answers to. Right? Like, the idea that the 2 girls are not just, like, the same DNA, but, like, whatever that word was that Torbin said, like, it's identical. Like, it's the same consciousness that's been split into 2. Which then makes you, like, wonder, did they really create children, or did they create conduits to a hive mind, right? Like, are all of these witches connected? You know, like, that whole little chant that the girls do about, you know, being one but born as 2, like, is that what's going on? There's no way for us to answer any of these questions, and you don't answer any of them in the show. Like, look, visually, this whole sequence is freaking sick looking, right? Like, looks very evil, so, like, I get the instinct, and, like, the girl's starting to disappear. But, like, we have that is a cool shot. But we have no reference point to what she is doing or what any of it means. And you've spent 2 episodes on Brendock. And the first episode, you were spending it with the Coven in particular. And you don't get into any of this type of stuff. Where it's like, now when it's happening, I understand exactly what's happening. And at least with what we're given, I don't know how you can answer any of the questions that I now have. Like, unless Mother Coral is still alive and you were saving those answers for season 2. But, like, I don't know why you wouldn't build this out previously so that when it starts to happen, your audience can go, I understand what's going on here, and then you can really see the mistake that Sol is making. Like, it feels like whatever Aniseya is doing in this moment isn't going to harm the children. Like, while I feel like she's slightly more schizo in the way that she's swinging from, like, good to bad, too, in this episode, like, her love for the kids is very legit. So those are the types of things where, as a Jedi, I would expect Sol, who has shown already that he can sense things in a very strong way, like, I would expect the show to have him pause, try to understand what's happening before just taking Aniseya out and leading to all the chaos that leads. But then even then, it's not really, like, the only person that does an immediate kill is Sol, and then I don't understand why everybody else just died. And Coral still MIA, you know what I mean? But I don't like, that's what I mean. What, like, all of those witches dropping like that, was that Indara purging Kelnacca, or was that Mother Coral, like, taking the hive mind with herself and bouncing? You know what I mean? And then you don't even, you still don't commit to finishing out, like, where is Coral? Other than she gonna be at the end of episode 8, you know what I mean? Like, of all the episodes, I didn't anticipate the episode where we go back to Brendock to be the episode that, like, really just hurts the show. Like, this was the episode where I was like, all right, we finally started to kind of shift tonally, where, like, at least the main beats that we're getting in the last 2 episodes have a far darker tone, right? Like, the punching that you're getting with Chimera, watching him take out all those Jedi, watching him allure Osha to the dark side, which I think a fair critique. Osha flipping as quickly as she flips is a little fast, and it's one of those, again, these short, if you made these episodes 50 minutes long, a lot of the issues I have right now, I mean, besides the logic and writing holes that make no sense, a lot of the other issues you could take care of because you would have had enough time to really lay the foundation and build out some of this stuff. But, like, you're going into lore and things that we don't know anything about all these witches. Like, I don't know anything about these witches. Now they're all gone. How am I ever going to get answers to those questions? Unless Mother Coral is alive. But, like, where is she teaching those things, right? And it's like, the tonal shift, like I said, watching Chimera kill all those Jedi, watching him allure Osha, while it might be fast, I also think how he's alluring Osha, I could see how she could fall down those steps. But again, as we know, and we've said most of the season, the biggest issue with the show is these 2 twins, right? Like, remove the twins and focus on Sol, Jecki, Yord, and Chimera and his Acolyte. And they're going after Jedi. Like, this show is, you just alleviate so many problems with the show. But that said, like, at least tonally, that shift was there, where it's like, okay, at least we're going down these darker paths, and, like, I'm expecting this episode to be the darkest episode of the show, because these 4 Jedi did something that effed them all up. We didn't really get to understand where Indara is at mentally, right? Like, she was just in this bar, don't know why she was there, we don't know what she's doing, don't really know if she's still, like, in full Jedi mode like Sol, or if she's somewhere more in this Kelnacca Torbin place. So you never get to flesh any of that stuff out. She's gone. Then you see Torbin, and you're like, dude, this dude's been in a meditative state for, like, 16 years or 10. I don't remember what it was they said, but if it was from, like, that, like, shortly after that, like, I feel like he probably had to learn some things for, I think they said he was floating for, like, 10 years. But, like, nevertheless, like, that happens. Kelnacca, like, just abandoning himself, right? Like, I'm exiling myself into these woods, and I'm studying all these symbols and things, trying to fit, like, what? I don't understand how we're going to get any of the answers to these things with all these characters dead, and you've set up all this stuff where it's like, what is this stuff that's happening? But nevertheless, like, you have those 2 characters just completely in exile. Indara, like I said, we don't really know what she's doing. And Sol, you know, just doing soul things, right? Like, you don't even really get his guilt at all until, Osha comes back into the story. And I can kind of understand based on what you set up with the guilt these 4 Jedi were carrying. I was expecting this to be the darkest episode of the show. And something that maybe was hinting or leaning into the Sith elements of this show. I didn't think that was that dark. Like, I don't know why Torbin would have committed suicide. Like, for sure, his role in what happened, not suicide worthy to me. That payoff was just weak. It was weak sauce. That for me might be the worst episode of the season. Now, mind you, there was some good action in here. Like, watching Kelnacca throw down was, right, because Coral... This is the other thing, too. Like, you get through this, right, and Coral turns into mist, and then we don't even get to see her. And you don't even see her take over Kelnacca. And I don't understand what this ritual is. And all these women that were up ready with they bows and arrows, right? Which, we're gonna go back and look at that Master Torbin, or Padawan Torbin, twirling that lightsaber. My dude, I'm pretty. That's Toman. I think the little Lannister that walked right off the edge. Real good kid. That's him. Certainly with the beard, couldn't tell, and I didn't even notice in episode 3, considering how quick it was. But watching here, I was like, that's that kid. We gotta go back though. We'll look at his lightsaber work too. But I don't know how they all knew to they all knew to disappear, and then somehow their chanting has something to do with Mother Coral turning into vapor, and I'm assuming she vapored herself in there. But then, what happens to her? Again, this is where it's like you gotta explain these things to me before we get to stuff like this. But that being said, I will say that not this. And I did think he was moving a little slow at the start, but we got some dope Wookie Jedi action. Wasn't as satisfying knowing that he was possessed, but getting to see a Wookie swing a lightsaber is very satisfying. And just the power of him, his strength and his swings and how he just throws these two around, things that have worked for the show across the board. The score, choreography, the action, that's the, wait, while we're watching this, do we see how he claws Torbin? Torbin's face, no issues. He fine. Then I guess he grabbed him. He grabbed him by the face, and that's what clawed him. But this is what I mean with this episode. That scar is gnarly when we see Torbin floating. You don't even give it a clean, I see where he just grabs his face, and then by the time he's on the wall, his hand is over here, so you're just assuming he scratched his face. You don't even give a good payoff to a simple thing. This episode is just driving me nuts. On a lot of levels. And here comes, Sol can't do anything. And then he's just like, fine, I'll fight you too. This kid's unconscious. I did also we saw a little bit of that, smooth criminal force foo stuff from Sol when he fought, this also, when he fought Mother Coral. But this too, that dope looking shot. But then, that's so clumsy looking. The choreography has been so unbelievable, and you disarm Kelnacca. I mean, I guess you're not trying to hurt him, but it just looks so clumsy coming in with your forearm to knock it out of his hand. And it didn't even feel like a way that should have, like, how strong this dude is. Like, this is what I'm talking about with this episode. But I love the physical presence and how, like, there he's moving quick. Some of his movements look so slow. We can skip these witches. Yeah, and here comes Indara with a cool little, let's give Carrie-Anne Moss, like, 2 more seconds of action. Kind of, I'm not gonna lie, that little hop skip kind of reminded me of Chimere. I don't know. Take that as you will. But, like, again, we've got freaking Trinity from the Matrix in this show. She gets a badass opening scene, I won't lie. Like, what she got to do was cool. But we don't really ever get to see her wield a lightsaber. And here we are in a scenario where, like, you could have had shit going down in this episode where we could see her doing dope stuff. And all we get is a cool hop skip that looks like Chimere. Jump up, take down this giant Wookie, and then clean his mind and kill an entire coven of witches. Like she got more lines finally, but the usage of Carrie-Anne Moss in the show just super disappointing for me. Like, this just doesn't make, like, you can see, like, clearly they're pushing back. But, like, where is Coral in all of this? And whatever this is, like, that's where I'm like, did Coral cause that? Because even the way that Indara reacts, it doesn't feel like she's reacting to, like, oh shit, I just did something. It's almost like there was something else that happened that led to and again, she's dead. We're never gonna get to find out what was going on in her head. Like, this is the first time I've really felt that, like early on, the first couple episodes, I felt like even though they were a half hour, almost 40 minutes, it felt like they at least felt full. Since them first couple episodes, I just keep landing on the space of we should be doing 50-minute episodes of television for Star Wars at all times. Now, that being said, I do want to give Master Torbin his due when he goes ham here. Where is Torbin and his lightsaber? Where could they be? They got in. We're still just talkie. Here come all of our archers.
By an institute.
And yeah, I think it's after the death of Aniseya. Yeah, here we go. Torbin about to go badass. And with the gold lightsaber, like, get out of there, Osha. Look at it. He might have thrown a little Annie in there. Like, not exactly, but like that little behind the back twist. I don't know if I would have allowed that per se. But like, I dig how fast he's whipping that thing around. Like, let's go, man. Like, at least Torbin got some, like, redemption in this episode where it was like, yo, you know what? You just was floating and then you killed yourself. You had some skills as a Padawan back in the day, kid. So, like, yeah, the action for the most part has been pretty solid. But, yikes, man, everything else in this episode, like, we went through, I just think the writing here is terrible. Like, it's just not good. And you're creating things that make no sense logically, and both in the visual and what's on the page. And that's just, it's not what you want in your penultimate episode, right? Like, if you grew up watching TV like I did, you know, HBO and Game of Thrones taught us the penultimate episode is supposed to be the best episode of the season. This might be worse than 4. Like, 4 was bad because nothing happened. There's just a lot of walking and a lot of talking. And a lot of walking and talking about things we already know about. And then, like, oh, our Sith showed up. And the episode's over. This is just bad on levels that make this show just you know what I mean? Like, especially when you can see, it's like, I almost feel like Headland laid out the beats for the show. Here are the beats. And the episodes that she didn't write was just like, go write your episode and then we'll make it. I won't look at it. I won't proofread it. I won't do anything. We'll just make it. And like, I'm telling the episodes, I gotta go back. The episodes where she is not featured as a writer are the worst written episodes of the show. And I think some of that's on Leslie Headland. You have to make sure that stuff is up to snuff for what you are putting out as the showrunner. And like, this is not up to snuff. And like, I feel like even people working on the show should be able to see, this isn't up to snuff. This stuff doesn't make sense. You're leaving things, like, your audience is just like, you show me things that I want to know about, and then you give me or put me in positions where, like, I'll never find out what I'm hoping to find out. Like, I don't know. I could rant and ramble for way longer, so I'm going to shut up. But episode 7, I had high hopes for episode 7. I think this might be the worst episode of the season. For me. In frustration, like, frustration and the things that occur in this episode are worse than boring and not giving me much of anything. So that's where I'm at. The show could still land in that dark place we were talking about, because this episode technically has no impact on what happened coming off of last episode. It didn't justify anything the way that it should have justified. So yeah, I don't know. We'll be back next week because gotta see how this thing ends, and I'm not gonna hate the back half of the storyline because the story from the past ruined everything. Like, this could still technically land, but I think on the overall, my general feeling of like, you know what, I think I like more than I don't, might be shifting to like, you really dropped the ball on something that could have been very good. That's where I'm at. Question is, where are you at? 7 episodes in, did you like this episode? Did this story for the Jedi warrant and justify everything else that we have gotten this season? Am I wrong? Or is this the worst episode of the season? Anything you got, good, bad, indifferent, theories and hypotheses on what we think these witches were up to and what was happening and what this, like, is this a hive mind collective, like, all one thing that's created vessels for itself? Like, at least if that's the case, we didn't actually create children, and like I said before, Anakin's legacy is totally fine. Maybe that's the one redeeming thing we got in this episode, except we don't actually know. So do you have a theory or thought there? Good, bad, indifferent, anything you got on the Acolyte Season 1, Episode 7, choice. That episode was a choice. Put it down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime. We're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions. You want to be here for, at this point, feels like a 50-50 coin flip if the finale is going to be a complete disaster or not. You want to find out with the C-Man? Well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation. Super easy. Jump over there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sitdown, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Hey, what's up, C-Maniac Nation? Winter Ken here, where we grow out our roots and our beard, letting you know that you can see some new C-Man videos right up here and right down here. And if you want all those videos and show that man a little love and support, come join C-Maniac Nation right over there, and the C-Man will catch you on the next one.